To Market Avenue, my name is Edward Nyako. In Africa, SMEs account for 80% of businesses. With over 40 currencies, payment delays, and different regional payment systems, cross-border payment transactions have been challenging. Regulation on the continent remained a challenge to cross-border banking as a raft of requirements need to be complied with. That's driving up costs higher. But all is not lost, because in January 2022, this year, the African Export-Import Bank, Afri-Exim, launched the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PAPS, with 12 African central banks, aimed at fast-tracking cross-border payment and trade capabilities on the continent. And these and many other issues about trade and finance will engage the attention of participants during the upcoming SIFS Ghana International Trade and Finance Conference in Accra here from 23rd May to 24th May in Accra. Joining us via Zoom is Salasi Kofi-Akom, the CEO of GiveTech. But before we do that, let's go straight to the Biz Language platform. And then we go to the Ghana Stock Exchange to look at how the equities are faring during this first day of trading of this week. Hello, welcome back. Let's go to the Ghana Stock Exchange and see how the equities performed today after close of trading session, the first day of this week. If you look at the platform, it was up 0.19 point. That is the composite index. So we've witnessed a flat trading last week and a dip, a major dip throughout the week. But this week has started on a good note, though marginally. We've seen a 0.19 points in terms of the composite index performance. And then the financial stock side, it went up 0.34 points. And then a year-to-date change is still in the negative terrain, that is negative 8.15%, as against positive 2.55% in the financial stock segment. If we go to the volume of shares that were traded today, we've seen 320,875 shares were traded on the stock exchange today, and they were valued at 298,376.46 pesos. That is Ghana cedis. But if you look at the market cap, it's still at the 62 billion bracket. Today is doing 62.5 billion Ghana cedis. Let's look at the equity that traded shares today, and it mainly was driven by Cowbank. Out of the 300,000 shares that were traded, total 320,000 shares traded today, Cowbank shares that were sold were 207,450 shares. And then we saw also SIC, the only gainer on the today's trading, also was up by 54,904. And then MTN sold 38,760 shares, and then PBC 1,500 shares, and then Republic Bank 25 shares, Societe Generale 510 shares, EGH, that's Enterprise Ghana, sold 598 shares, Bob, that's Benz Oil Palm Plantation, sold 100 shares, and then GCB 5 shares, Goil Ghana 371 shares, and then 25 by RBH. So in all, we've shares that were traded today amount total sum up to 320,875, and they were valued at 298,376.46 700 376,046 pesos. So this is how the market fared for today. Very good note compared with what we saw previous week, where we saw that the bears presence was so strong. We started on a little bullish note today, but let's see how the market continues throughout the week. We're going for a short break. When we come back, we're going to look at cross-border payment. It's a very challenging issue, but thank God the PAPs have started rolling out. I want to see how it's going to help shape trading on the African Continental Free Trade Platform that has been created. So we'll go for a break. We'll be right back, and we're hooked up with Selassie Kofi Akom, CEO of Gifted Ghana. Come back to Market Avenue. We're looking at cross-border payments and the challenges that has come up with it. We're told that about $5 billion are lost one way, or they are not actually lost, by the cost that Africans made in making cross-border payment and settlement on the continent. But with the coming on stream of the PAPS, that's a Pan-African Payment Settlement System, the Ghana International Finance and Trade Conference is also taking a look at it come 23rd May and 24th at a major conference coming up next week in Accra here. So we're going to find out what should be done, what has been done, and what are the challenges that still need to be tackled head on as the PAPs continue to roll out. Salas, you're welcome. Hello, Salasi. Salasi, please, can you hear me? We're trying to get in touch with Selassie Kofi Akom, the CEO of Gifted Ghana, and we're looking at cross-border payment. Simply, if you're in Ghana, you want to sell, perhaps say, cocoa to a Kenyan, the norm is that when you send your cocoa from Ghana to Kenya, what happens is that because the Kenyans don't trade in cedis, automatically need to be converted in dollars to be sent to the Kenyan there. But what is being done with the coming on stream of the African Continental Free Trade Area and the PAPs is that the platform has been created to make sure that once I do a transaction in cedis, the Kenyan can also receive it in shillings, or the Kenyan can send a goods here, and I will also receive it in cedis. So it's no more going to be converted to other currencies to go through all the challenges. So these are the issues we're looking at, and yes, the platform has been created, but there are still more, hurdles to be cleared. So that's what we're looking at this evening, to find out more as to what can be done to make sure that, yes, all the 40 currencies that are on the 54 trading partners of the African Continental Free Trade Area can take advantage of this platform and ensure businesses thrive. Selassie, I hope you can hear me now. Hello? Selassie, can you hear me? We're still having a challenge with getting through Selassie Kofi Akom. So we're still trying to get in touch with him and find out more from him, because come next week, that is a very interesting week, because the African Development Bank is also going to have its annual general meetings in Accra here. That's from 23rd to 27th of this month. And then GiveTech also is going to host a 6th edition of its conference that is looking primarily at the cross-border payment and settlement system on the continent of Africa. We have about 40 currencies that trade on the continent, with all the 54 countries have ratified the FCTA. But we can't do business without a common platform in terms of settlement. And so that is a very crucial issue, because it's very great to send your product from here. All right, Salesi, I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, Mr. Nyaku.
Great to have you. Now, when we talk of cross-border payment and settlement, what is it actually?
Very well. I mean, basically, the issues of cross-border payment system is a mechanism that simply facilitates or meant to facilitate the swift payment of money across borders. So let's say if the Ghanaian goes to buy from Ivory Coast and he's supposed to make payment to the Ivory Coast supplier, the mechanism that facilitates a swift movement of funds from his or her bank account here in Ghana to the Ivory Coast supplier becomes a cross-border payment mechanism or system. So basically, that's what it means.
All right. So over the years, prior to the PAPs, what has been the major challenge in this on this platform or making cross-border payment?
Very well. From where we sit at the Ghana International Trade and Finance Conference with our research, we have identified some few barriers that hinders cross-border payment. First of all, the issue of multi-currency. The cost of that currency against the major trading currency globally, which is the USD. The issue of cost. These are some of the barriers that affect cross-border payment. And when addressed, it is expected to make cross-border payment swift.
All right. So if we look at the banking system, what can we say will be the role of the financial institutions on this platform?
Very well. Our financial institutions play a critical role as it is, or by tradition, or the traditional mode of sending this or making payment across border is bank to bank. And so you will need a SWIFT code generated by your traditional bank from the host country in sending money across border. In other words, you need what we call the IBAN. But a SWIFT code is facilitated by SWIFT. It is a code that generates a SWIFT advice, which advises of a successful transfer, or which advises on a successful movement of funds from the sender's originating country to the recipient country. And so boxing this around the recently launched Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, which is supposed to drive the African Continental Free Trade Area, you would realize immediately that the issue of the barriers or the problems accustomed to cross-border payment barriers had been acknowledged instantly. Hence, a special purpose vehicle which was needed to progress in safely and successfully trading and paying cross-border was very necessary and eminent. Without a cross-border payment system or a special purpose vehicle like the PAPs and any other one there is that exists, we are aware of one that had been recently introduced by the Access Bank, which is also going to facilitate trade. There are a number of ones that have been facilitated. However, the one that is accepted within member states that is supposed to drive the Continental Free Trade Area is the PAPS, which is being implemented by the West African Monetary Institute, WAMI, is supposed to bridge these barrier gaps and mitigate the falls, the customize and the issues of a cross-border system should or is expected to be eliminated by the ongoing implementation process of PAPS when it fully takes off.
So, in this regard, what are the roles of the central bank in this mechanism?
The central banks within the structural formation of the PAPS are 7 critical roles as the, how do I put it, 7 critical roles as the in-house supportive clearing system. Don't forget that the Afri-Exim Bank itself has provided mechanism or has made itself the clearing house, which is being supported by individual member states' central banks. So, for instance, the Central Bank of Sierra Leone, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Central Bank of Ghana works hand in hand with the clearing house of Afri-Exim to make sure that within minutes, if I send payment to a supplier in Tanzania, it will be received in Tanzania's currency, despite the fact that I have sent that money in cedis. And then the convertibility barrier, which is the forex, which normally makes cross-border very expensive, will be nullified here because Afri-Exim, per our understanding, had put in excess of $5 billion to mitigate the convertibility expenditure. So, for instance, in changing the Ghanaian cedi to, let's say, the Nigerian naira, there will be loss of currency in doing this. And who pays for that loss of currency within the PAP system? This is what the clearinghouse and the implementers or the owners of the structure, which is Afri-Exim, have put a fund to mitigate. And we are told by the AFCFTA Secretariat that they've even made payment. They've deposited that money already to the AFCFTA's account, showing their readiness for this takeoff. And so the central banks, who are in their traditional means the facilitators and the seeing to bodies in making sure that money reaches the next shore, are going to play that same role in close collaboration with the clearinghouse within the Afri-Exim system. All
right, come 23rd to 24th May, Ghana International Trade Finance Conference is coming on. That's the 6th edition. What are some of the things that are on the table that you're going to look at in the light of...
Thank you very much. This is why last year at the 5th conference, we discussed extensively about this Pan-African payment and settlement system, where we had the Vice President, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Baumia, come make a profound free consultation advice to the entire Pan-African payment and settlement system architecture by advising Afri-Exim and the central banks to connect to individual members' countries' already existing structures. This year, the first panel on 23rd is going to look at a theme towards an effective and efficient mobile money transactional penetration in Africa, a catalyst in solving cross-border payments and settlements, an anticipated barrier within the AFCFTA, the role of financial regulators and stakeholders. We are bringing to Accra on the 23rd and 24th the Global Vice President of Visa, Don't forget, they are globally #1 payment system platform. We all know. We are bringing the vice president of MasterCard. We are bringing the West African country director of SWIFT. SWIFT is a platform that enables every monetary transfer. Without SWIFT, you cannot move that funds. So they are a key stakeholder in this conversation this year, this month, on 23rd to 24th at an Alisa Hotel in Accra, strictly by invitation. Then we are bringing trade ministers to speak on the day 2. The first panel will be measuring the acceptability and adaptation level of the AfCFTA on the African continent a year after implementation of the first phase. We ask the question, where do we stand in terms of trade in goods, trade in services, and dispute mechanism protocols that have been put in place? This is what the seat conference will discuss at the Plush Alisa Hotel. Then we have the African Development Bank itself, and then the vice president of the ECOWAS Bank of Investment and Development taking turns to actually discuss and tell industry where they can get the funding to progress in the operationalization and expand in activities, considering the heavy toll that the COVID-19 has brought on industry. The AFDB will tell participants and industries what is there within the trade finance space. They will speak on the 4 pillars of trade finance and show industry where the funding is to support industry in Ghana and on the continent. This will be on the 24th at the Plush Alisa Hotel. This is how the 6th conference has been scheduled and organized.
All right. So lastly, how does this translate into, enhancing trade on the continent to create jobs for the youth out there?
Say again, please. Say again, please.
How does this translate? How would this translate or impact on job creation? Enhance trade and impact on job creation. Trade and job creation.
Very well. When industry has the adequate financing to mitigate its crisis or this current crisis through the pandemic, you know that many jobs have been lost due to unavailability of funds, due to underproduction and close down of industry entirely over a long period of 2 years, in some cases 1.5 years, 1 year. When industry get the needed financing to come back to mainstream production, those who have been laid off will be recalled. And so it will revive the job losses within the system. There will be new job employment too, because industry will now look at specialized employees to handle special expansion projects. So if you look at this in its entirety, the SID conference is going to discuss about the progress and review the AfCFTA, because a full implementation of the AfCFTA is expected to create in excess of 100 million jobs across the continent in all sectors. Look at all the 56 countries progressing in trade on the free trade platform. This will boost economic activities on the continent. And this is expected to increase job across board. And this is what we will be discussing
at
the SID conference.
Thank you very much, Sarasi. I think we got to talk more about this upcoming conference, and especially the African Development Bank annual meeting that's also coming on stream the next week, all in Accra here. So this is how we wrap up. Thank you for your time, Sarasi. And then
thank you very much, and thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure.
Thanks. This is how we wrap up today on Market Avenue. My name is Edward Nyakun. God will come here again tomorrow with SME Narrative. Shalom.